All right, let's talk a little bit about how to change due dates for individual and multiple assignments in WeBWorK. All right, so I'm looking right now just to, I'm under homework sets. Here are my list of assignments, and they're all closed because the due date has long since passed. How do I change the due dates of things? Okay, in order to change due dates, we gotta click in homework sets editor. All right, so let's think about how to change due dates right here under homework sets editor. Let me focus on the last 4 columns of this page here. So there's this thing called the open date. I think it's self-explanatory. When is the assignment open? If your open date hasn't happened yet, so for instance, if your open date was sometime in the future, then your students would not see the assignments. Yeah. So for instance, if your open date is 3 days from now, well, the student will not see the assignment. So if you want your students to see the assignments, make sure that the open date is either right now at the moment or sometime in the past. It looks to me like all of these open dates happened sometime in February of this year or December of last year. So everything's open right now. So all the homework sets are visible. Now the next column is this thing called reduce scoring, and then you have this other thing called close date. So think of the close date as the very, very, very last day by which the student can complete the homework set. So the close date is the very last day by which your student can complete the homework set. The reduced scoring date is the last date by which they can get 100% of the credit for the homework set. So let me think of a specific here, a homework set. For instance, is 101 algebraic expressions and equations. So that homework set is open, so it's visible to students. The reduced scoring date, right now it's kind of silly, it says that it's 1969, but let's just pretend that let's just think that, for instance, the reduced scoring date is by the end, it's by this Friday, it's by this coming Friday. So let's just make a little silly example. Let's just pretend that the reduced scoring date was by Friday at midnight. Okay, so if the student completes this 101 homework set by Friday at midnight, and let's say they complete the entire assignment and they do all the problems correctly, then they'll get 100%. But now let's also pretend that the close date is Sunday at midnight. So we said that the reduced scoring date is Friday at midnight and the close date is Sunday at midnight. Now let's think of another scenario where the student completes the assignment, let's say on Sunday morning. Yeah. Well, then they will be deducted a certain percentage. So even if the student completed the homework set thoroughly and got all the questions correct, but they got all the questions correct, let's say on Saturday or Sunday, they will not get 100% on the assignment. They will only get 75% or 85%. You can choose how much you deduct from 100%. So again, let's kind of go through that little hypothetical example. I'm looking just at this homework set, 101 algebraic expressions. Let's just pretend that the open date, so it's been open. The reduced scoring date, let's say, is this upcoming Friday of this week, and the close date is the Sunday after Friday. So if the student completes the assignment thoroughly, gets all questions correct, and they do that before Friday or at Friday at midnight, sometime before Friday at midnight, they will get 100%. Now, if the student completes this assignment, let's say between Friday and Sunday at midnight, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday in the morning or Sunday afternoon, they will not get 100%. Even if they score, even if they get everything correct, they will not get 100%. They will get, let's say, 85% or 72, or 75% or 90%. It depends on you how much you deduct. So that's the difference between the reduced scoring date and the close date. The reduced scoring date is it's the date by which you want your students to turn in the assignment for full credit. The close date is the very last date by which they can turn in the assignment, but they have a deduction on their grade a little bit. Yeah, and the answer date, think of the answer date as the same as the close date. So close date and answer date should always be the same. The reduced scoring date should always be a little bit before the close date. So the reduced scoring date is always like maybe a couple of days before the close date. And remember, the close date, even if the student completes the assignment by the close date, they get a little percentage off of their, well, they get a little percentage off of their score, I suppose. Now, how do you adjust that percentage? So if you go to course configuration down here, under course configuration, you'll notice that there's these tabs up here: general, optional, modules, permissions, PG, problem, email. Right now I'm gonna click on optional modules. And here you'll see that there's this enable reduced scoring. So right now it's turned on, so that's why we have that reduced scoring date. You could turn it off if you want to. If you turn it off, if you go to false, and then you have to save down here, save changes. If you were to do that, you would not have that ability to reduce the percentage. You know, you wouldn't have this reduced scoring ability. Right now it's set on to true, and notice that the value of work done in reduced scoring period. So the reduced scoring period is the period between the reduced date and the close date, and at that point they will only receive 75% of the of the credit. And you can change that. You could change it to, I don't know, whatever you want to be, as punitive as you want to be, 85%. Right now I'm just going to leave it as is. So if you want to change that, so right now what that means is that, so let me go back to homework sets editor. I'm not going to save any changes here. So the reduced scoring period is between the reduced scoring date and the close date. If your students finish the assignment by the close date, they will be subtracted certain percentage from their overall possible grade. Yeah. Where do you choose that percentage? Over here under the course configuration. Right now it's set, so optional modules, it's set to 75%. So they will lose whatever, 25%. Yeah. You could, if you don't like that, you could change it to 85%. So just be aware that if you make changes here under course configuration, definitely hit save changes. Yeah. All right. So let me go back to homework sets editor and change the due dates of a couple of homework sets here. So how do I change the due dates? Let me pick a particular homework set. For instance, this 101 algebraic expressions and equations. So there are two ways to change due dates. One way, if you just want to do it for a particular assignment, is to click on this little 25 here. If I click on that little 25, you'll notice here's the open date, the reduced scoring date, the close date, and the answer date. Remember that the close date and answer date should always be the same. And then the reduced scoring period is the time between the reduced scoring date and the close date. And that's when they're gonna be subtracted. They're gonna be taken, a certain percentage is gonna be taken off from their work. So right now this assignment is open. Let me just pretend that the reduced scoring date is, let's say, we're right now set to May, so let me do August. Notice right now currently it's August 17th. I'm just going to pretend that the reduced scoring date, let's say, is August 18th at, and you notice down here there's a little timer, at 11:59 p.m. All right. But then that means that I want to make the close date sometime after that. So I'm going to make the close date, let's say, be the Sunday after that Friday. So notice that the reduced scoring date is the 18th, the closing date is the 20th at 11:59 p.m. and we are going to make the answer date the same as the close date, is what we said. All right, done. Okay, and then I would hit save changes. Yeah. Now if I go back to my homework sets editor, somewhere over here, 101, wherever it is, down here. So it has an open date, the close date. So this is a reduced scoring date, the 18th. That's a Friday. And then the last date by which they can turn in this assignment is the 20th. And remember that between the 18th and the 20th, if the student finishes the assignment, let's say on the 19th, they'll be they'll only receive 75% of the full credit. Yeah. So that's how you would do changing a due date for a particular assignment. Now, if you want to do this for several assignments, let's say we wanted to do all of Unit 1. So I want to change the due date for 101. Let me think. I'm looking for 102. Where's 102? 102. And let's say 103. And actually, if you're ever doing this and you're just like scrolling to see where 103 is, another thing you could do is up here, if you notice, you could go to sort. I'm gonna sort by set name, and I'm gonna say take action. If I do that, then they'll be in numerical order. So 101, 102, 103. Let's say I want to change the due dates of these three things. Yeah, because I don't want to change due dates individually. It's too tedious. So I selected these three. Notice that I selected them by clicking on this little left little box. So I've selected those three, and then I'm gonna go to edit up here under homework sets editor. I'm gonna edit the selected sets. You could edit all sets if you want to. You change the due dates for everything. So I'm gonna just do the selected sets for now, and I'm gonna say take action. And this will take you to this little page here where there are the three sets. Here's the open date. The open date, it's already happened, so that's okay. The reduced scoring date, I'm gonna make all of them be this Friday of this coming week. So for instance here, let me go December 1969. Now I'm going to say, I'm just gonna copy this, the reduced scoring date of the 101 that I just edited, and I'm gonna paste it over here. And I'm going to change to that as well. Notice that all I did is copy the first one from 101. I just hit Control Copy, and I just paste it over here in 102 and 103. That's the reduced scoring date. So it's this coming Friday. The close date, I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to copy the August 20th date into this close date and this close date. And if you notice here, what's happening is that the answer date always aligns with the close date. So just make sure that the answer date and close date are always the same. The reduced scoring date should be a little bit before the close date. And then I'm gonna say take action. You always have to hit this take action button. All right, take action. So okay, I have adjusted the due dates for 101, 102, and 103. Right now, the assignment is open for my students. They have to turn it in by this upcoming Friday, August 18th. If they want to get 100%, but let's say that they are like, oh well, I finished it by Saturday. Well, that's okay. You can still turn it in, but at that point, I will deduct 25% from your grade, so you will only receive 75% of your overall possible grade. Yeah, and remember to always make the answer date and the close date the same. So hopefully that helps a little bit, and thank you.